Welcome everybody to day two. For those of you who weren't here yesterday, this is the Spotlight stage. We're hosting it as part of Business Keeps on Dancing. So the whole plan for today and for Business Keeps on Dancing in general as a podcast is we're speaking to people throughout the events and the music industry, understanding their stories and hopefully hearing some of the secrets to their success and bringing that to the wider music events community. So I'm really pleased today to be sharing the stage with Mikey and Channel One Soundsystem. We're going to go deep into a little bit of the history. But to kick things off, what I'd really like to know for someone as uneducated as myself is, what would you say is the difference between a sound system and experience versus a club show or a festival?
As I say, a sound system is, you could say a homemade, you could say discotheque, but in a bigger form. Yeah, because when you tend to go to a rave or an event, you tend to have DJ equipment where you'd have the boxes, you'd have the amplifiers, but everything like that is built by hand, by ourselves or by a friend or someone who's got a small company. And to present the sound system to the people is more on a family basis. Instead of it's like how you present a rave or a big event, it's more of an inviting event. You know, like, I'll greet you as brother, I'll greet you as sister. Yeah, instead of just a punter walking in, paying their money and coming in. During the event, we greet you as family.
Okay.
That is the main difference.
Nice, so quite a big difference. Okay, cool. Now we're kind of wrap that one up for people like myself who are kind of fresh to this. Let's start at the beginning and go back. What was your first experiences of a sound system growing up?
Well, the first beginning of sound system is it's always been in the black community from since our father, our parents, grandparents or whatever. So it's something what we've always grown up with from childhood. And I've had sound system in the from my father had a sound system in the house. So I've grown up with amplifiers and boxes from since from childhood. I'm sure that was Kayleb as well. And it's something where it's normal to me. And it's not something it's only when we started getting older and older, you see piles and piles of records around we call it the front room, whatever. And then by that times we had like the gram, whatever. And then when Pop started bringing in the sound system into those, started bringing things, so that's how we know it as. And so it's not something new to me. It's something what we've grown up with. And so in our community, sound system is a norm. And that's where you get people together. Them days you couldn't go into a club and put sound system. So you use we call it blues, shoebeans. And so that's how sound system really got, and that's how people in the community started to get to know one another and started to react with from one another. That's how it happened. That's how it started.
And at what point did you have that thought, I want to take over for my father, I want to be involved with this, or was it not even a question, it was always going to be that way?
No, when you started, we used to have, in my household, we used to have parties, and when we was a childhood, and when you was a youth, you had to stay upstairs. There's all big people downstairs, you see, but then you used to hear the music was being played. And that's how you start that. That's when I started getting to like music and see how they operate the sound system and the boxes and whatever. So that's how I started getting involved. And so by the time I got to school, and when you're in the woodwork class, everybody's making chairs and whatever. I'm making boxes. And so that's how it got deep into me. And so I wasn't worried about stools and chairs and tables and whatever. I started making part of boxes and started taking it home and building the rest at home.
Okay.
And so that's how I get into it.
And did your dad, I remember my dad used to go crazy when I used to touch his records or his turntables. He'd be scratching the needles. Was your dad quite welcoming and letting you kind of play with the system, or was it off limits and you had to make your own?
Those music are off limits. They're very off limits. Don't touch those. And so yeah, when they go into in the box, they stay closed. You can't touch those. So when you start buying your own things, though, that's the difference.
Right. And how, I guess, musically, was it an inspiration, or were you very much kind of hearing the records and then going out on your own musical journey and discovering your own tastes?
Well, you learn because it's a teaching that what was being played then, and it's always been new things coming up since even when pops put down the sound system. And you start to hear music of your own from Jamaica, and so that's how you really start to go into your own now and start going to record shops and start buying your own things.
Yeah. Okay, nice. And so when you kind of took over the reins of the system for yourself, talk me through that process. How did that start, and what were your first kind of shows taking the system on the road and doing it?
Well, them days, when it's like clothes. It's like you got hand-me-downs, and my big brother had it at the time, and he handed it down to me and my other brother, who's got the sound system now, and Yati, and we took it from then. Started playing at weddings and things like that, until we start getting a bit bigger. So the more weddings, you know that your sound system can become a little bit bigger. And when you hear other sound systems playing in community centres, things like that, that's where it started really taking off.
Okay. Were there any big learnings in those early days? Any mistakes that you made?
Well, yeah. The one big mistake what I made at one night to one party that was not when you're stringing up the boxes and you put wire together. I didn't put tape on it. So one night we was playing, the sound system just cut off. What I didn't realize, it just came together, and that was it. Blew the fuse of the amplifier.
Oh wow!
And but again, it's a learning curve.
Yeah, definitely. So it wasn't just a case of plugging it back in.
No. I had to go get another amplifier, and all the rest is history.
Nice. It's I was reading one of your interviews before, and you spoke about it being a marathon, not a sprint. In terms of, I guess, the longevity in the game. How do you kind of see that? And could you elaborate that a little bit more?
Well, so the thing nowadays, majority of people want to reach places fast. Yeah, because they see other people doing things and getting to places, they feel, I could do that. I could get there. But they don't realize this, as Mikey said earlier on, like with ourselves, we had to go through a form of schooling before we reached to where we are. We had to know our music, we had to know the Georgia, we had to know the equipment. It's literally you had to know your art before you could say, yes, I could make it to the top. Because like nowadays, all right, everything is more instant. You got X Factor, you got this, you got that. They feel that you could just turn up, sing a song, and I'm a star. Not knowing that majority of artists, DJs, studio production, everything started from school. You have to start from the nursery, primary, secondary, college, university. It's just the same way. It's a steady progress. Because usually, it's just like anything. If you just spring up from nowhere, tomorrow you're gone. But if your roots are deep, you'd always be around.
True. And I guess in terms of having those people, or to rephrase it, did you have people around you that were, I guess, giving you those lessons and mentoring you in both music and the work with technology? Or did you have to just figure things out for yourself?
Yeah, because the thing is, it's like, as Mikey said earlier on, it's like on the music side, like with myself, I wasn't growing up, was in the sound, I was more on the music level. My parents, my father, he had his music, he said, study everything I've got here. Yeah? And it could be anything from jazz, rock and roll, country and western, pop music, classical music, reggae, soca. You literally had to know every genre. Because if you want to be a DJ, it's not knowing just one genre, know all of them. Because a DJ has to have a musical flow. Yeah, many people now only know one, and they try and stick to that. And then when you could say the tide changes, they cannot change because all they know is one thing. But when you know many, that's why I said you need to go to school. You study every form because it's your art. Study the art, and you'd always be there.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. We had Youssef on stage yesterday, and he said that, you know, he was regularly practicing 10 hours a day, mixing records, honing his craft, and continuing to do that, you know, even when he was back from tour. Just having that continued hunger to always be learning and be better, because if you don't, there's always someone at your heels who's hungrier than you.
Well, sound system is like, years ago, people used to say, bigger people to we. And when we used to want to get into sound system, they said it's like an apprenticeship. You have to learn, you have to go to school and know how to know the sound system. And so, as Kayleb said, it's not something where a lot of sound systems that you can see today from the last few years, I just want to start up big. And all of a sudden they think they're on the crest of a wave because they're the hip-bound sound for a year, 2 years. After that, when they see the way they're going is hard, they start go down. So that's the thing. So you have to learn your apprenticeship, and get that straight first. When you have that straight first, then you have to have a passion for this music business. Yeah. And they say, because if you don't have the passion, and if you don't have the hunger to be on the motorway, M1, M6, M4, whatever it is, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, hungry, you don't have nothing to eat. And they say, you have to go back, you have to go unload your equipment. You have to have these things. Yeah. If you don't have those things, you can't do sound system.
No, very true. So what's, if someone's coming to you for advice, what's the biggest piece of advice you could give someone that wants to start off with a sound system?
The biggest piece of advice I can give for you to want to set up a sound system, if you want to build a sound system, make sure you know where to put it. And it makes sense to put it in, your parents might not want it in their house. So you have to know where you're going to put that sound system. So as I said, people just spring up with sound systems overnight. But then if you don't have nowhere to put it, what's the point?
That's true. Where did you used to keep your sound system?
Well, part of my sound system would be my bedroom. That's how. So what we started, and then by that time, that's when the lockup came around and whatever. That's how we started doing. Because if you don't have nowhere to store, that's the storage is the biggest part of this business sound system thing.
Yeah.
The storage is very important.
And how many how much equipment is there? We're talking 4 stacks, amplifiers.
Yeah, well, at how can I say, with one at Carnival years ago. Not now because everything is more condensed now. But at Carnival years ago, I used to play without 22 18s. And you see, that's just the bit. That's just the bass, whatever. Not on the tops and everything. 22 speakers. That's what we used to play with then, with Valve. And you see, so everything's now condensed and speakers get more powerful and whatever. So you don't need as much now. And you see, but that's how it used to be then.
So you'd need a very big bedroom or a lockup at that point.
Them days, it's a 7.5 ton or not. It's not no Luton van like today.
So, you guys are close to celebrating, is it 40 years at Channel One?
We've gone past that.
45 years. Congratulations, first of all. A lot has changed. What are some of the big differences and big changes that you've seen over those past 4 decades?
People get the biggest change is just seeing people getting younger and younger.
Yeah.
As we get younger as well, So and the beauty of it is just seeing. You could say, as Mikey said earlier on, before we used to just play to just our own race, just the black community, and now the beauty of it is where every race, every community, every walk of life loves the type of music that we play. You know, and to see that every day and traveling the world and seeing people enjoying the music, you know, that's the biggest thing, because when we was younger, it wasn't on a worldwide scale to how it is now. And now it's on a worldwide scale. Anywhere you go in the world, you can hear roots rock reggae music. People love it. There's artists, sound system, musicians. People wanted to play roots rock reggae music. When I was younger, it was mainly Jamaicans or Black English who was really playing that type of music. But now, anywhere in the world, you could go to Greenland and an Eskimo would be playing reggae too. Yeah. And that is how wide it's grown now.
What do you think's been the catalyst for that? Why that change?
You know, a lot of it is just the first thing was Bob Marley in a sense. You know, he was like the first reggae ambassador, even though there was ones before, but on a great scale, Bob Marley was the first reggae ambassador that traveled the world. And the thing with, you could say, roots reggae music, it resonates with anybody, right? Because within the music, within roots music, there's a heartbeat. All of us has got a heart. And the thing that resonates within us is that we remember when we was in our mother's womb. And the only thing we could hear really is that heartbeat. And that heartbeat is comfort, security, and whatever else goes with it, yeah? So when you hear the music, you hear doom, 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 doom. That just speaks to your whole body. And whatever comes after that is like you're in tune to it. So to me, I always say to people, what I feel that people feel is the heartbeat. And then from you feel the heartbeat, then you hear the lyrics and then you hear the music. And you love it.
You see the issue with reggae music and sound system. Everybody over the world, them relate to Rasta. Most people over the world relate to reggae music, them say it's the poor man's music. Reason being, you don't see reggae music being played on X Factor. You don't see reggae music sound system being played on any part of TV. And you see, it's because the people like we bring reggae music to the masses all over the world. Anywhere you go in the world, you'll find a sound system. Somebody's somewhere, whether it's 2 bins or 8 bins or 16 bins or 24 bins, anywhere in the world, you'll find a sound system. And that basically started from here and Jamaica. And you see, so if we never carry on that trend, and people say, well, it's a poor man's music, because you don't see people in reggae music getting some big royalties and big rich, and okay, you might see it in hip hop, you might see it in rock, you might see it in, but tell me where you see people in reggae music on the TV getting some big royalties and big going to these big awards ceremonies. You don't even see award ceremony for reggae music. You don't see it.
Why do you think that is?
Well, as I said, they find the people, them say, reggae music is a poor man's music. You see? So if it's a poor man's music, we need to just push it out ourselves. Because, as Channel One and many sound systems like we won't be around forever. So we want to try and do our work. And don't forget, reggae music, when you come to say Channel One dance, it's a spiritual evening. It's not just about raving, getting off your head and getting drunk and all that. People come to Channel One Soundsystem because they feel it's an atmosphere where they can really relate to the sound system and to the music. So it's not something where you can come in here 3, 4, 5. You one could come to a sound system session with Channel One. And at the end of the night, you had a good time. If it's just you one. That's when I said the poor man's music. You can pay your little money at the door, buy your little drinks, buy your little food, and enjoy yourself. That's what we do it. So as I said, when we don't see big award ceremony on TV or whatever, it's something to it. We just take it as now. And they say it should be like that, but that's the way it is. So we just have to just work it the way we feel it.
and the other thing I was saying, you see, reggae music, in a sense, is anti-establishment music. Reggae music goes against the whole, what the music industry is trying to push. Yeah. So the thing is, they're not going to put money within something that is against them, against the music industry, against the governments, against the whole of how society is run at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, it's the people's music. The people know what is a powerful music. You don't need the Grammys, you don't need whoever to say your music is good. No, it's the people who will tell you so that your music is good. Yeah. So at the end of the day, if you're waiting for the British Awards, Music Award, the this and that, to say that you're good, right? No, that doesn't mean you're good. I see many people getting big awards and I'm thinking, who are you? I've never seen you before. Yeah, right, you've got the many hits on YouTube or you've sold X amount of downloads now. It's no longer records, yeah? But at the end of the day, is your music good? Would your music be remembered in 10 years' time? No. Yeah? Now you've got reggae music that was made 50 years ago that is still played today. And people think it was just released yesterday. Yeah? Music that is good lasts forever. You don't need a reward for good music. That's how we look at it. So we don't care if we get award, no reward. We don't get no recognition. As we said, the recognition is the people. Because when you travel the world and you go to a lot of festivals, what a lot of people don't realize, the biggest festivals out there are reggae festivals. Right, attended more than even Glastonbury, than Isle of Wight. You go to a reggae festival in Europe or South America, you got thousands, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000. But you've never seen it on the media.
No,
because as I said, it's anti-establishment, so they're not going to show you this side of the music scene.
How does it work as a sound system getting your equipment over to somewhere like South America? Is that feasible? Obviously, you book a DJ and it's headphones and a record bag and want a flight for one. For someone like yourselves to travel to foreign festivals, how does that work with the sound system?
Well, we travel, we pick up the suitcases full of music and we travel over because there's sound systems in every country. Okay. So what they'll do is get the best sound that they've got in the country, call Channel One and present the sound to us and say, is this good enough? And Mikey will say yes or no, or add a bit more. Yeah. But you see, like for Europe now, yes, we do travel with the sound to like France, Belgium, Spain. It's a bit of a drive. Sometimes to go to Spain, we have to put the lorry on a ship, sail for 40 hours, jump off in Bilbao, and drive for another 18 hours to deep south of Spain. But we do it.
Yeah.
We do the same to go France. We do the same to go Belgium. But Europe is easier. But to go across the Atlantic,
yeah, prohibitively expensive. But again, going back to the 40 plus years, what have been some of the changes in terms of the actual sound system itself as technology has changed? Have you made tweaks to it? Have you incorporated newer technology, or is it essentially stayed the same?
No, equipment and technologies change, and at the same time you have to change with it. And this is so. But what we've done is that we've created a sound system what's got a certain style of sound, and people will come into a Channel One session that they know the way we play. And they know the way I play the sound system, and just like a lot of people, I don't like the sound too loud. You see, we can take this big high power thing, and you see, but I want people to come in and enjoy a just nice rolling sound, and you see, and that's how we play it all the time. Because after 40 odd years, who we impressing? We don't need to impress anybody with some big high-powered speakers and whatever. We just need to have as I said, it's a spiritual evening. So people would come and just, have a good spirit about them, listen to a nice song, and listen to some good tune. And you see, so yes, we work with the technology. Was there, as I said before, things has come condensed because years ago, a lot of people didn't know what valve is. I used to play with valve. We used to lift from big heavy valve. And see, that's what we used to play. And you see, but now everything is down to this little one new thing. And you see, and that's where you still get the power. And you see, so but if you can get the power of the same as well as I see, as the same as the valve sound, mono sound, then that's the way we push it out.
Has the sound evolved over the time?
Yeah, the sound has evolved because we used to have what we used to call quadruples and double boxes, which is big like the wardrobe, and you say until now it's come down to 48 inches high speakers, and you see, so so it does it, but as I said, it's not the size, it's how you present that sound and how it sounds like. And if you can get a good sound out of him, and the idea of a sound system, as I always said to some youths, is consistency. And they say if you can get that same sound playing as best as you can everywhere you go, that's the name of the game.
Yeah.
And they say,
what are some of the challenges in getting that consistency if you're playing, say, at Carnival versus at the Village Underground shows, which are obviously in the venue?
You have to know where to position your boxes. When you position your boxes a certain way that everybody's gonna try hear as best as you can. And it's like at Village or at Notting Hill, where we use more speakers at Notting Hill than we obviously would at Village. And they say, but if you can create that sound, which I think we've done, created a sound on the street, then I think we've done pretty well.
Yeah. And are you able to recreate the same vibe, or does the vibe differ, would you say? From, say, Carnival, where it's just got that natural community vibe, how do you capture that somewhere like Village Underground?
The Village Underground thing is to be honest with you, most Channel One session, if not the Carnival, it's like a meeting place for our sound systems come all over the world. They come over and say, yes, we're going to Channel One's Carnival because we can meet this person. And at the Village now is like a Sunday afternoon jam, Sunday evening jam. And this is so, once you have a Sunday evening jam, it's just like everybody just come, let loose, enjoy yourself, or spiritual evening too. And it doesn't have to be, as I say, something it doesn't have to be till 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Once you can get a good few hours in up till 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, you've done the work.
Yeah, I was speaking to some of the people that work at Village, and particularly security, and they said that they loved your parties. It was always such a good vibe, and the biggest question they got asked was where someone could go and get some food afterwards. And it was, super easy.
Yeah.
So, touching more upon Carnival, this is going to be the first 2-year hiatus, right? What has 2 years without Carnival meant for you and perhaps the wider sound system community?
Well, you could say first, rest.
Chance to kick back and take stock.
Yeah, first is rest, and then when you look at it, you start to miss it because it's like I think last week I was saying to Mikey what's happening with Carnival this year, and many people is asking because Carnival is like for us, it's like an advert for the rest of the next year. Because you don't know there, you don't know what media are there or which promote or influence people. So the thing is, it's like for 2 years, we haven't advertised. Yeah? But you still push on, even though you haven't got that big advertised 2 days that you could do. But All we could do is sit down and wait, see what the government and the council and the authority come up with. Because we're willing to do carnival. Then the people of London literally asking the question, they're coming back, what is happening? So we're just sitting down and wait. But at the same time, we put on other events to cover.
I think carnival is something like I haven't had it for couple of years, but every year it's like you, no matter how famous you are, no matter how good you are in sound system, you're putting yourself in the shop window. And they say because it's always new people coming to your corner. People who's never been on Channel One before, who might have heard them on the on the internet or whatever, and say they want to come to the channel. Young people, and there's people who said I've missed Carnival for the last 10 years, and Channel One is still going. And you see, so we've had people who's actually grown up in that corner, and it's from childhood to big man, big woman, and you see, so if you wasn't doing something constructive and good, they wouldn't return. You see, so that's why I say you always put yourself in the shop window, and because it's good to do, and it's like a little bit of a challenge as well. Year after year after year, can you do it the next year? Can you do it 37 years? Can you do it 38 years? Can you do it? It's always a challenge. And so that's how I put it.
Is there a point where you might see yourself stopping?
Well, when these things give up, I think it's time to stop it. I don't think I can stand on playing 6 hours again for like forever. So when these pins give up, then I think I'll call it a day.
So with it being a shop window and not having that shop window anymore, where else do you go in order to keep Channel One in front of people? I mean, you've got quite a respectful following on social media. Does that play a big part in getting the word out?
So as we've got Village Underground that now will be on every month. Everyone knows that Village Underground is like, you could say, our home. You want to find us in London. And it's just to keep up on the media, keep people interested in us, speak to the fans and just generally do what we've been doing for 40 odd years. That's it. Yeah.
So would you say, a lot of people come to us before we do it, Mustard Media, and they want to grow a community online and they want to have big numbers on Instagram. Is that something that just happened organically for you guys because you were just doing what you were doing for 40 odd years?
Yeah, because we didn't go out looking for anyone. It's like the manager, Rachel, she set up the pages. The next day you got 50,000 people and you didn't really look for them. But because we've been going for so long, many people know us. So it's not somewhere you have to try to get, you could say, fans or people who like you. They're already there. It's like yourself, your mom and dad would have been people who listened to us. You was listening to us in your mom's womb. And then you ended up coming to the session because many of the young people who come to Channel One session says, my mom was pregnant coming to your session. And we're here now. Yeah, so that's why I said you could have been in your mom's womb and you're coming in now because you heard the vibes while you was in your mother's womb. And he says, you know what, I'm going to continue with this. So, it's funny when you said advertise or put yourself out. The reality is, we don't really do that too much. Yeah, because, it's like Rolling Stone. They've been around from creation. Everybody knows Rolling Stone. Yeah, but like when you've been around for a long time, it's like you don't really have to push yourself too much out into the eyes of people because you're already there. And that's it.
What about the new sound systems starting out? Do they need to work harder, do you think, on social media? Or can they also rely on the fact that the music has always been with them in some way?
Well, I think nowadays most sound systems is just about to be built or just, being around the last 5-10 years, whatever. They need the social media. And, that's what most of them rely on. If there's no social media, and a lot of these sound systems will build a sound system, but don't have nowhere to play. I see. So this is the thing. What I'm trying to tell you, you have. But when you build a sound system, when it's too, they build an oversized, I call it a super sound system, and they go into a venue, they want to blow the place apart, and they say, I said, that don't make sense, because you want consistency, and you want that the management of that venue for you to come back again. And they say, so it's no use blowing out these windows and, shaking the whole building to the rocks, because it doesn't make sense. So it's something where you have to be sensible. And they say, and you play the song, but this is just England. I'm talking about all over the world. And they say, so it's something where they have to keep on at it all the time. Don't forget, sound system is a business. It's not something that is just like a hobby where you can just pick it up and, I won't play it again in the next couple of months, 3 months' time, 4 months' time. That doesn't make sense. And the sound system now is not like yesterday. As I said, they use the social media to get where they're going. Channel One, right now, we're using our legs to get where we're going, because that's how we've grown up with. And they say, and that's where the hard work is. And they say, so it's something where any sound system nowadays, yes, you need the social media at a certain point, but the graft is where you're going with it yourself.
Yeah. And this comes back to it being a marathon, not a sprint. You've got to spend the time starting small, build with a smaller system, learning the craft, and then scaling with it as you grow. Interesting. What do you see other than that? I guess trying to be too big too soon. What are some of the other mistakes that you see with sound systems starting out?
Like mistakes with sound system is that, as it says, they need to do the homework on the sound system. And they say, because if you don't do your homework on the sound system, you might go out there and says you got a good high power sound system and whatever, and then it breaks down. You see, and if it breaks down 1, 2, 3 times, then you're doing something wrong. And they say, so this is from you doing your homework. If you do your homework, you know what to do and what to plug in and not what to plug in. Mm-hmm. And they say, so everything but don't forget, a lot of the DJs is coming with laptops and phone and whatever, and they forget about that. And they say, we play record, and that's how it's a Channel One is. And to me, when you're playing records, you have to do your homework. And they say it's not bringing out like 1 million tunes on a phone and say, I can pick this. People will ask you, well, where do you go with so much records? And so when I pick from there to here, I know roughly what I'm going to play, because I've done the homework already. Mm-hmm. And they say it's not just about bringing X amount, whatever. So it's something where you have to, coming back to the apprenticeship thing. You have to have an apprenticeship in sound system, just like you have to do at work.
Mm-hmm. And who was it your father that was your mentor throughout this?
Yeah, Pops used to have the sound system, as I said, when we was childhood. We used to see sound systems coming up and down the stairs and getting out to the van and whatever. So yeah, so that was not. And they say, and then Mom, who's still, she's still with us, and she's the cornerstone of Channel One. And they say she's the cornerstone of Channel One. So she used to tell us, don't get late to the venue. Don't do this. Make sure you start out this. Make sure you put on some warm clothes. Make sure you do this and all kind of things. She used to look after you. So Mom used to be the cornerstone of Channel One Soundsystem. And they say so very important to keep them going.
Yeah, definitely. What just as we come down to wrapping this up now, what have been some of your proudest moments over the years?
One of the proudest moments, I think, not just for sound system, for reggae music, is winning the Red Bull competition. That was important because I believe we wasn't meant to be there as a sound system. I believe that because there's other genres of music there, and we were the last ones to get invited.
Right.
When was the last one to be invited? We say, okay, we'll see. And they put up against all these big production companies, whatever. And this is what I talk about the poor man's music. And it's a poor man's music with that evening. You see, when they come that evening, they will never get the cup till about 8 months later. But we win the cup. And you see, so, at the end of the day, we do what we have to do. And you see, and so we're not into the big star thing, and we don't need that. So we just have to we just want people to come to our session and enjoy themselves, and then that's we live to fight another day.
And has there ever been a moment when you've thought about quitting?
Well, yeah, I think coming down the motorway with 6 o'clock in the morning and dead for hungry and whatever. Yeah, that is a couple of times. And you say, so do I really need this? And you say, but when you go back home in the morning, go to get some sleep, you wake up with a fresh view. That's the fire.
Nice. All right. Thank you so much, guys. It's been really fascinating. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for the education. And here's to 40 more years.
Give thanks.